Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read. Today I'm going to go over popular series that I need to finish and popular series that I think I need to start. So there's a lot of popular series of books out there, and I think that Marcus has got me hooked on a couple of them. So these are the ones that I really need to get through and finish because they're all so good. But I've just been reading so many books that I'm starting into a bunch of series, and I really need to finish some so that I can remember what happened before I start into too many series that I lose track. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of really good popular ones out there. One, for example, that I really want to finish is the Cruel Prince series. So I've read The Cruel Prince, and I have read Wicked King. So all I have left to read is Queen of Nothing, and I'm definitely going to read this one soon because this is a series that I've been very much enjoying, and I really want to see how it concludes. Another popular author that Marcus got me hooked on was Mary Lou, and so I really want to read her Legend series because I've heard that it has similar vibes to Hunger Games, and I'm always down for any books that have similar vibes to Hunger Games. You guys saw me read Battle Royale and how excited I was about that book and how much I loved it. It's one of my top books of the entire year. So that alone tells me that I'm going to really like this series, and so I'm looking forward to picking this series up. Which also makes me really want to finish the series by Mary Lou that I have already started, which is The Young Elites. So I've already read The Young Elites, but I still have two more books in that series to go. So I have The Rose Society, which I'm hoping to get to very soon because this series has a fantastic protagonist that just is morally gray, and she's everything you would want in a protagonist, and she makes decisions that are very realistic, and I just think that Adelina is fantastic. So I have The Rose Society, and then I also have The Midnight Star. And these books are on the shelves. Marcus already has them, so they're just sitting here waiting for me to read them. I mean, I gotta get to them soon. I have to. Another great series that I have started but only read the first book in is the Steelheart series by Brandon Sanderson. I really enjoyed this first book because it dealt with superheroes, but combating against the superheroes, and they weren't even really superheroes. They're just kind of beings with superpowers that are kind of controlling cities, and everybody else kind of feels like they're captive of these superheroes. So it's just such a cool concept, and I thought it was awesome, and so I really enjoyed this first one. And so I really need to read Firefight, which is the second one, and Calamity, which is the third one. Of course, we also have these books on our shelves because Marcus already read all of these and he really liked them, and so I really need to get to these. He personally says that Firefight is his favorite, which makes me want to pick it up even more because if it's his favorite, it's going to be a really good book. So I'm looking forward to this one a lot. There's also Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, but I'm not going to talk much about that one, considering I talk about it way too much in all my videos. Plus, that series isn't even finished yet. It's still, I think there's more books coming out in the series. So yeah, you guys just know, you know how much I love that book. Another series that I have started this year, and it has made it into my top books of the entire year, was Illuminae Files. I adored this book. It was so much fun, and I had such a great time with it that I think the rest of the series is going to be so amazing. I don't even know where they're going to go with it. I have some ideas, but I don't know. This book could have been a standalone for all, it was just so good as itself, but I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go in this series because I just had so much fun. So I still have to read Gemina, which is the second one, and then Obsidio, which is the third one. And of course we have these on our shelves as well. So they're just sitting here waiting for me. I need to get to these. I know it. And I think I'm going to have so much fun with both of these. I'm honestly really excited for this series because of how good the first one was. It was such a good time. And then the next one, I don't know, I wouldn't consider it a series. I think it's a series, but I was going to say Carry On by Rainbow Rowell because I read Fangirl, and then this is kind of the next one, and then there's Wayward Son after this. So I would consider this kind of a series, but I want to read this by the end of the year. So I hope I get to it because it sounds like it's a really fun book since it's all based on the fan fiction that she writes in Fangirl. and I had a really enjoyable time with that book. So I feel like this one will be good as well, and this one will be like a little more fantasy centered, which is always fun. So I'm excited to see where this one takes me. And now these next set of books are all series that like I would like to start. I haven't started any of these, but they are all like I've heard a lot about all of these series, and I really want to jump into them and see what they have to offer. So the first one, you probably have seen this series on my shelf quite a bit. It's over this way, so you can't see it right now. Actually, you can see just like the bottoms of them, but that is the Gone series by Michael Grant. I have the whole entire series, and I have not read one single book of the series yet, mainly because we got them all for a discounted price. It was this special going on at Indigo, and so we're like, you know what, let's just pick them all up right now. I have a friend that really enjoyed this series, and she kind of sold it for me, so I'm like, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time, and yeah, I have all of them, so I hope I like it, because otherwise I bought a bunch of books for no reason, but we'll see. Next, I have a series that is kind of a booktube darling, and I think you guys all have heard of this one. This is the Mortal Instruments series. So I have the entire box set that we actually got on Facebook Marketplace, and I was a dummy and thought that because these spines look like this, that the front covers look like that too. They don't. They're not like this. So yeah, that's just me being an idiot because I had never actually looked at the covers. So yeah, I'm really excited to start the series because I know that everybody on BookTube and their grandmas have talked about this. I also have heard that there's some like very interesting things that happen in this series, which I'm kind of wary about because I don't know how to feel about them, but I'm going to read it no matter what because I want to jump on the train of like everybody on BookTube reading this, and I want to know what it's about. It's kind of like Twilight. Like I need to read it for the sake of reading it. And then of course, following those ones, we have the Infernal Devices trilogy, which I will probably read after I've read the Mortal Instruments because those are like the ones that kind of start everything off. And then I'm pretty sure these are just set in the same world. So yeah, this is another series that I have heard a lot about and I will eventually get to. Another one that a lot of people have said is very good. My friend Neil recommended this. Neither Marcus or I have read this series yet, but it's the Scythe trilogy. I know that a lot of people really, really enjoy this one, and the concept for this one is really cool. I just think that it's going to be a good series, and I would eventually like to get to this, but I can't read it until Marcus does, so we'll see. That's because most of these books that I'm mentioning are his books, and so like that makes sense. He wants to read his books first before I get to read them, and I get it. Then I'm not going to pull the whole series down because there's a lot of them, but Throne of Glass, I think this is another booktube darling that everybody talks about. I will eventually get to this series. It has assassins in it, so like, why would I not want to read this? But yeah, it's kind of intimidating just because it's such a big series. But then again, most of these series that I'm showing you guys are pretty big, so I don't know. We'll see. And then there's another author that I haven't really experienced any of her books yet. And I feel like a little ashamed about that because like I've heard that she's a really good author, and that's Victoria Schwab, and this is her Shades of Magic series. I got this for Marcus as a gift, and he liked the series. Like it was an average series for him, but like I've heard a lot of people have really liked this series, and the concept of all the different like Londons that are like parallel with each other, I think that's really cool. I would be interested to jump into this and see what kind of writer she is. I also have one of her middle grade books. I think it's called City of Ghosts. I picked that up when I was in the UK, and so I'm excited to get to that because that'll be like a fun, quick middle grade read. And it also has sprayed edges, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to experience Victoria Schwab as an author. Like I'm excited for a lot of these series because I haven't experienced these authors before. And I feel like if I like their writing style right off the bat, then I'm going to love reading more and more of their books. So it's just an excitement factor that I'm going to get to experience a bunch of new authors, and I think that's really cool. I'm expanding my horizons of the books. I feel like I should jump on the train here for Brandon Sanderson. I've only read like his sci-fi works, and I haven't really experienced Brandon Sanderson as a fantasy writer. So I should jump onto the Mistborn series. I know a lot of you out there really like this series, and as Marcus has told me, if I jump into this book, I'm going to be opened up into the entire Cosmere universe, which I don't know where I'm going to go with that. We'll have to wait and see. I don't even know, like, a lot of them are high fantasy books, and I'm just getting into, like, YA fantasy books, so we'll see where I go from there. I do enjoy YA fantasy. I don't know if I will enjoy like a high fantasy book. I have to find one that I really like, because I feel like Steel Crow Saga was somewhat high fantasy and it was like hard for me to get into. But we'll see. I am looking really forward to this, because this one has the concept of like ingesting different metals and getting powers from that, and that's just so cool. So yeah, I'm gonna try it out and we'll see how it goes. So apparently I don't know my differences between fantasy. Marcus has been teaching me as I'm recording this video. I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about fantasy, because apparently some YA fantasies can be epic fantasies. I thought they were two different things, and clearly I need to learn more about it. So I need to read more fantasy books so I understand the difference. But anyways, you guys get the point. More intense, like dense fantasy books, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is I need help getting into. And so that's why I want to try reading more of those books that have a lot more world building and a lot more build up and stuff like that, so that I can get the feel for it, is what I'm saying. All right, moving on. And then the last one I have on this list, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot more other books that I want to read, but this is the last one of a series that we have on our shelves, so we don't have to like worry too much about buying a lot more books. That is An Ember in the Ashes. I have heard so many good things from all of you booktubers out there about this series, and also Marcus, when he picked up this book, he didn't know how to feel about it, and when he finished it, he thought it was fantastic. So that gives me really high hopes for this book, and I think that I would really enjoy this series. And that's it for all the series that I need to finish and the series I need to start. I feel very hopeful for all these books that I'm going to be starting eventually. We don't know when that's going to be, but like eventually when I get to them. And I'm sad to finish some of the series that I talked about, because I don't want them to end, and they're such good series that like I just don't want to be away from those characters. But you know what? All good things come to an end, and then I'll start some new series and experience some new fantastic characters. So it's a win-win. Anyways, that's it for my video, guys. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi page that you can check out in the description down below. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so that you get notified when my videos come out. And until next time, keep on reading.